Hey guys, so today we are going to review some of the headlines for Gary Vaynerchuk's LinkedIn content. Who should watch this? If you create videos on LinkedIn and you write headlines, you definitely should watch this because I think it might give you some insights. And also if you write any form of content on the platform of LinkedIn, you must watch it because the way you write headlines is the way you write hooks for the text post that you might put out on the platform, although there are some many differences in how you approach writing headlines and hooks, but we'll cover that later on. Today we are going to review Gary Vaynerchuk's headlines. And before you ask who the fuck are you to be doing this, I work for a content marketing and founder branding agency called Project 33. And in the past 3 years, around 3-ish years, I would have worked on tens of successful founders, not as successful as Gary Vee, maybe, but yeah, pretty successful in their own domains. And for them, I would have worked on like at least 1,000 posts, like combined. So I have a decent idea of what works, what does not work, how to go about writing headlines for different things, what are different kinds of headlines. Even I've even created an internal document at Project 33 on how to write good headlines. So on days when I am stuck and I don't feel like that my creativity is coming that the way that it should be, that it usually does, I just go and refer to that document. Maybe I'll share a version of that in the comments below if people are interested. But right now, without much ado, let's dive in. Okay, so we are not going to analyze all of his content, just the video content, and that too the content that is properly post produced, which means it has a headline, right? So he also does just random raw talking to the camera. We are not going to analyze that today. So let's go. Here it is. Okay, I was watching some of the videos beforehand while preparing for this video. I won't lie. I was a little bit, skeptical if I should do this video because I might be pointing fingers at someone who is
When you
out there.
genuinely
Okay.
love the
So this is how it would go. I would scroll through his profile, look at the headlines, and give my initial comments. If I was a random scroller, what would go in my mind, and then we will go through full or some parts of the video, and then I will give my secondary comments on, okay, now that I know the content fully, this is the headline that better suits the content, right? So yeah, this is the first video. Let's dig in.
thing you're doing, you're playing. Like, I'm not doing it for
Okay,
the
wait,
money.
yeah. So, how do you keep a good work ethic without getting burned out? Okay, I think it's a little long of a headline, but I think it cuts the chase. And let's now get into the content and see if the content justifies, or rather, if the headline justifies the content.
When you genuinely love the thing you're doing, you're playing. Like, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I like being an entrepreneur the way people like sailing and eating pizza and watching movies and playing golf. So that's one way. This is why I've always loved passion. Number two, here's a big one. I love it the most. I love it the most, comma, if I wake up and it's raining outside and it's just kind of a shitty day, I'm okay with having an off day, off week, off month on the grind because I'm not going to judge myself in a nanosecond of a 60-year career. And so it's about having a relationship of self-love that you don't beat yourself up if you've had a bad quarter, let alone a bad day.
Okay, so first of all, this is something I really needed to hear, lately. Okay, coming back to the headline. As I said, it's a little long, and that is one thing. Number two, this is a question archetype because Gary Vee is talking so much about himself, and it's always good to infuse some kind of a personality in, not just in your content but in your headlines as well. So I would, put it something like, "How I never get burnt out." Right, so now it has some personality. And also thinking from the audience's point of view is, once you encounter Gary Vee, you're always like, how is this person always so pumped, so high? right? So this also answers people's curiosity. So it serves a couple of reasons. First of all, it's shorter, so some anyone who is in speed scroll mode can easily go through it, and it just catches their eyes. That is number one. Number two, it has some personality, so it's Gary V's headline, not just any random headline. Number three is it answers a question that a lot of Gary V's followers, or someone at least who has discovered him recently, would have, which is, how is this guy always so pumped up? And number four, obviously, while doing all of that, it also conveys the headline that I am suggesting, how I never get burnt out. It also suggests, how this person deals with having a very good work ethic without getting burnt out. So yeah, it still does all of that which a headline should do, which this headline is doing, while conveying personality, solving an objection, and being small enough to get into the head of someone who is speed scrolling through the platform. So yeah, that's one thing. Let's move on.
And I
Wait
do
a minute.
everything literally a block from here.
Don't be scared to raise the price. Okay. First reactions would be, this kind of looks too generic to me, and too, uh, yeah, I guess so. Kind of is too generic. Let's now go through the content and see.
Yes. And I do everything, literally everything. Of course. Any advice? Is it bothering you right now? Can you afford to hire an entry level employee to do the shit that you most hate doing? No, but I could work on making more money to. Can you charge more for your service? Yeah, slowly. I know you can. It's the fear of raising the price that kills solo entrepreneurs. By you having the courage to walk one block over and changing the price from 80 an hour to 120, you could then hire that person. And her competitors are not real competitors even, because you're uniquely you, and whoever likes doing it with you likes doing it with you. That's true. There is no fucking competitor. We have the juice. The competitor is your fucking head telling you shit that's not true. Like, I can't. Who am I to raise it $20? That person that I think is doing a good job is $10 less. That's who's fucking you up. That's your competitor.
Okay. So you might have seen I have already watched some of these videos, but I did it before I had to figure out all this shit, and I've kind of already forgotten what I had thought roughly in my head. So yeah, as I said in the beginning, it looked kind of too generic, and my hunch, if I may call it that, was right. And if I was writing this headline, I would make it a little more specific. So first of all, it's for solopreneurs, how solopreneurs can start scaling up, or how entry stage entrepreneurs can start building their team. It's not just about raising price. It's also, he's also talking about how to think about competition, how to, yeah, how to hire your first person, and obviously all of that happens because you raise your prices. So while this headline still works, I would go for something like how solopreneurs can scale their business, right? Something like that. I might have to watch it once more to come up with something a little more credible.
A block from here. Yes. And I do everything, literally everything. Of course. Any advice? Is
Okay, so the problem that why I watched it again was I wanted to know what is this lady's problem. So I guess she is kind of getting burnt out, or yeah, I would say burnt out. If I did some, so right now the camera is on, so I am, there's a pressure in my mind, and it's not the best best environment for me to think and do creative writing. But I would combine a couple of elements in this headline. Number one, who is it for? So I would mention the term how solopreneurs can do dash, and then dash can be the problem that we are trying to solve, a larger problem that we're trying to solve, right? First, we go super niche. So every solopreneur, not just solopreneurs. So if someone is, anyone who is close to in a situation which this lady is, would be, would relate to this. And then dash, so this is how solopreneurs can scale their business without getting burnt out, something like that, right? Or as simply as how solopreneurs can raise their price, just that. Because if someone has 50% company, they would have processes on how to raise their prices. But this is an issue related to solopreneurs. So I would mention that, and my headline would be how solopreneurs can, how to raise your price as a solopreneur, something like that. Again, let's look for posts that have headlines. I think this one had, right? Okay. A conversation you need to watch right now. Yeah, again. uh, Again, it's a very generic headline. A conversation you need to watch right now. Who is you? Am I, before going to a job interview, do I need to watch it? I need to I need to go to the loo. Do I need to watch it right now? So I think this is one of the common factors that Gary Vee, the headline writer for Gary Vee is kind of obsessed with, is making it too broad, and which I think is not in line with what Gary Vee preaches in his content about content, which is to niche down to create content for each segments of the audience that you're covering, right? So now let's go into this video again. It's a 3-minute video, so hang tight, community. I love you. And then we will see how we can frame a better headline for this. So previous few headlines were like, they were quite on point. So I had to think really hard on how to make it better. As you would have seen, for raising the prices, I was struggling a little, but here I am pretty confident. I have not seen this video before, but I am pretty confident I can do a much better job here. Let's see.
Started my own business at 23. My son is with me. He started his own business because he comes to me for advice, and I just know my way. Right. My way, kind of. I tried. You tell him what you know, but he doesn't want to listen. Yeah, but I don't know everything about the business he's in either, so I feel kind of bad, right? But it's not bad. I've watched your videos, and you're like, no, everyone doesn't know everything. That's right. But I think I know everything. Fair enough. Right. So what's the problem? Should I stop or just encourage? Should you stop telling him your thoughts? Telling him what to do? No, you shouldn't tell him what to do. You should tell him how you would do it. How I would do it. And then let him decide how he will do it, based on how you would do it. Sometimes that's the only good thing. That's the part that fucks moms up. Yeah. You don't want him to fall on his ass. The best thing that can happen to him is if he falls on his ass. Even if he goes into debt? Of course. That's hard. Of course it's hard. It's not your principle. But if you let him go in debt, first of all, if you're telling him everything that he's doing wrong and he starts going into debt slowly, he's going to know that you were right. And he's not going to go as deep into debt as you think. Look, he can't have it both ways. He can't. I just have to sit back and watch. Yes. He can't have it both ways. I got it. He's got to live. He's got to learn on his own. You definitely did. If you left at 12 and did your thing, you made a fucking ton of mistakes. Different. I had to survive. I get it. Everything. You know what I mean? Of course I know what you mean. Which is why I'm telling you, it's the flip of what you think. Every second you're overprotecting him is more of him becoming a losing player. You're right. Debt is good for him. Yeah, he has no other option. What, are you going to overcoddle him to the grave? No. So he's going to end up being insecure because he's going to think his mom never believed in him. And more importantly, he's going to end up being insecure because he is seeing through your actions that you're overcoddling him, thus meaning you don't think he can do it. He's better off losing than having a mom that doesn't think he can do it. Yeah. Losing is good. Yeah, you're right. You got it? Yeah. Yes.
I'm like 6 months into running this business. I'm kind of a little lost, not all motivated.
Do you love it?
Yeah, I love it.
Well, then that's good.
Yeah.
Even the way you just reacted, like just talking to your mom, having that context, like, what are you scared of, failing?
Think almost?
Of course.
It's also like lonely.
Of course, it's extremely lonely. It's real lonely out here for entrepreneurs. Couple things. One, you'll always lose in life if you overvalue them. It's a wrap. You're gonna have to start practicing getting, like, you have to fight for that. You have to fight. You have to really meditation, reading positive things in your ears, whatever the fuck it is. Exercise. I don't know what it is. You gotta practice having them judge you. You have to. Then it starts getting less lonely too. Once you get over that first hump. What ends up happening is when you're not scared, you become more vulnerable and open, and more shit starts coming to you. When you're scared, you're blocking people, you're blocking energy, you're blocking. You're like, well, yeah, you don't want to talk to anybody. You're scared if they're going to be like, you're a dork. You can't. Of course, you're like, I got a t-shirt. Exactly. But I respect that more. You're doing it. You're doing it. You understand? Like, I fucking stocked shelves in a store for fucking 20 years of my life before I did anything. Wow is right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, brother.
Okay, so now I kind of understand why the copywriter here went for such a generic headline, a conversation you need to watch right now, because this is a two-part video, right? One is a parenting advice, other is personal development, self-help kind of a thing. So by default, you have to go with something that is a little generic, but again, I would say it's too generic. A conversation you need to hear. Who is this you, right? I'm going to drive to school. Do I need to watch it right now? Right. So even if you encounter a situation like this where a person or you are trying to talk about 10 different things or two different things in this video, you have to go with something a little generic, but you don't have to be this generic, right? So in the first half of the video, because it was taking some time and I was a little nervous what I'm going to say, what better suggestion I can have on the spot, because usually I sometimes I might take 15 minutes to write a headline. So and that is how important it is, because that is the most important thing in the content, because that is the key, that is the door, I would say, right? If your headline sucks and no one reads your content, or no one watches your video, no matter if how much value you have given in your videos or your post, no, if no one is going to watch it, it's basically useless, right? So two headline that I came up with when Gary was talking to this person's mom, and it was how to raise an unstoppable kid, right? Or how to raise an unstoppable entrepreneur. That could be it. And then one of something Gary said in his video, which was stop over coddling your children. It kind of really resonated with me, and I think it was a very punchy headline that could have been as well be used for this video, right? So talking to his mom, and obviously I would be, if I am, so one target audience of this video is parents, the other is children, and this through this headline the copywriter is trying to target both. But if you just targeted one of them and mentioned the kid or the parent relationship, both of them would be targeted in a way, because if Gary Vee is talking something about how parents can do something, even children would be interested. Okay, what advice is Gary Vee giving to parents, right? But then, yeah, obviously, if we have to come up with a generic headline which targets both the segments, I would say how entrepreneurs can stop being afraid. So this is a headline that I think would is specific enough to cover both mom and son conversation, because how entrepreneurs can stop being afraid. So if your child is an entrepreneur, you would think of it. Okay, how entrepreneurs can stop being afraid. My child is an entrepreneur. How can he stop being unafraid? And if this is the child who is listening, he can be like, okay, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. How can I stop being unafraid? And I know at this point I'm kind of overemphasizing and kind of spoon feeding something that you have already understood. So yeah, I think that's about it. I intended to review a lot more videos, because for me in my head it was like, damn. It's like I would just start throwing out my ideas and things like that. But it's obviously taking a lot of time. It's 20 minutes already. Even if we chop it a little bit, it will be very, very long. But I hope I did this little experiment. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please comment below, like, subscribe, share, send me a mail, fly to Bangalore, knock on my door, say thank you or I love you, whatever it is. But show some kind of appreciation, or even feedback, negative feedback, but show that you exist, show that you showed up and you viewed this video, no matter which platform you are hearing or watching or even reading this about. I would really appreciate that. Cheers.